The Maine Mariners of Portland and the National Hockey League franchise Portland team has been affiliated with the New York Rangers. The Press Herald reports the Mariners are expected to make the new affiliation official with an announcement tomorrow at the team's home arena. Now let's get your forecast with Rob Gilman.
A major change on the way as we go through the long holiday weekend, though we're in the midst of a heat wave after reaching well into the 90s, only dropping back to the mid and upper 70s. The record high minimum at Boston, 74, set back in 1901. Hazy and muggy overnight. Tomorrow, sunshine mixing with clouds, a high 96. The old record at Boston, 95, set in 1945. And then a couple of strong thunderstorms will move in late in the day and into the evening with a few downpours. Low in the mid-70s. And Thursday, another round of heavy showers as cooler air starts to approach a high of 84. Friday, the wind in from the Atlantic, much cooler into Saturday. A lingering shower or two, the highs 66 to 70. For WATD, I'm meteorologist Rob Gilman.
Still pretty warm out there, 93 degrees outside our South Shore studios. And before we sign off, just letting you know, we're still waiting for that press conference to start in Scituate. There was a reported drowning today in the town. Not a lot of information available. If we can get a piece of that to you, if they start in a reasonable amount of time, we'll bring some of that to you live. But right now, stay tuned. Some good stuff on here. We've got Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, 95.9 WATD.
I just saw the headline.
Now, Talk Real Estate with
the prognosis didn't look good.
Sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate
Yeah, all the
Services.
headline that I saw said that they pulled a body.
Hi, I'm Sharon McNamara, and you are listening.
They said he went.
Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique real estate firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing.
Out of the water.
Service home buyers.
Yes, I can, Lenny. I got you.
Throughout Boston, the South Shore.
Are we almost ready to start, or what's the deal?
Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives.
Yeah, she's about to step out of the booth, but the girls know, so they're gonna. You let me know when you think you're ready to fly.
Every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my real estate team member, Mary Baker, and I, along with the director of Boston Connect Real Estate,
For sure, stand by.
Wallace, provide you with
Ladies,
a
can you hear me?
marketing approach to selling homes.
I'm just hearing from Lenny Rowe out in the field now, so we might be starting shortly. You got 45 seconds on your intro, so I'm going to give you a hot mic so you can do the intro, okay?
Okay. But you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of some of our real estate agents at Boston Connect Real Estate and the preferred professionals that we trust. Be part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team or one of the dedicated agents at Boston Connect Real Estate to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with us at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all our South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I'm here in studio with my team member, Mary Baker. Hello.
Hi, I'm multitasking over here.
Sharon McNamara will be joining us shortly. And we also will have somebody from the WATD news center. I almost said traffic center, but at least it's not doing this. News center, sort of ringing in here and giving an update on what's going on over in Scituate. So if I get interrupted, it is for
we're just on the fly today.
What do you think?
But tonight we are going to be talking about are we seeing a slowdown? Oh, Ben, I can hear you.
Sorry, Melissa, you're good.
Okay, perfect. We're going to be talking about, are we seeing a slowdown? So there are some things that are happening with our team, with our office, with the sort of whole
the
industry as a whole that is bringing up this topic tonight. I know we continuously every week talk about how crazy it is, and just like everything else, it can turn in a moment. So we're going to be talking about, are we seeing a slowdown? And we're going to give our bold predictions from our team. We'll go around, myself, Sharon, and Mary will be talking about what we predict for the next 6 months, because now we just
6
finished.
months, that's a lot.
We just finished second quarter of this year. in real estate, the office part of me is I split the office into 4 parts. So we're done with the second part, and we'll be doing mid-year numbers, and sort of seeing where we are compared to last year or even the year before, because last year was unpredictable, and yet we had an awesome year, not only as a team but as an office, and I personally feel like we're crushing it this year too. So
thanks for the vote of confidence.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Sharon this morning about some of the things that I'll be doing, adding on to this task about comparing numbers, and sort of see where we're at as an office this year, compared to last year, and we're up. We are up. But let's sort of jump into this. I know we're going to be interrupted, so Ben.
Actually, looks like we are ready to go, Melissa. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. Well, Ben, take it away.
We're going to turn it over now to Christine James live in the WATD news booth.
Thank you very much, Ben. We're just getting confirmation sent out from the district attorney.
Lenny, you ready to go?
That it was a fatality.
Going live.
Today, that someone did drown in Scituate. They're starting with a press conference. Lenny Rowe, you're down there at the emergency center. Have they gotten started?
I wonder what Facebook can hear.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if they can hear us or the studio.
Hopefully the studio.
Yeah, or else they're just going to be hearing me heavy breathe.
Yeah.
Oh no, they can hear us.
Sorry. Sorry, Facebook.
Sorry, Facebook. Well, maybe we could talk to Facebook a little bit. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well, Mary's on her phone, but it's like a replay, so it's a little bit behind on my phone, but so we're going to be talking about, are we seeing a slowdown? Ben's going to jump in once
as soon as we start to actually
as soon as we get into it.
What was interesting enough is you started the top of the show by saying, all we're hearing is this market is crazy. This market is crazy. Well, so I'm at literally the doctor's office getting my physical the other day. And he was like,
thank you very much, Lenny. Of course, no name has been released yet of that victim, but it just brings the story to an end that started this afternoon when we had reports that somebody might be in the water. Christine James in the WATD newsroom. Now back.
Send it back, ladies. Here we go.
There with Sharon McNamara right here, 95.9 WATD.
Oh, yeah.
That's so sad. I didn't know that was going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're moving and grooving all day, you're not really looking at the news, but I heard a little snippet of it and it's just awful.
Ladies, we are back.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes, I know. We know. All right. So Mary, you'll have to finish your story, but Facebook could hear what Mary started to say about being in the physical.
Oh, geez. So I was just saying that, at the very top of the show, the first thing that I thought of when you're like, oh, this market is so crazy. This is, and we've been talking about it for several months or several shows now, that it's just fast and furious. And, it's a total seller's market and things are going crazy over asking. Open houses are intense and, people are waiving contingencies. So yes, we're on the radio show and we're talking about all of that. But the other day I'm sitting in the doctor's office getting my yearly physical. And he's known me now for a good 12, 13 years. And he looks at me, he goes, so can I ask, are you still in real estate? And I said, I sure am. I sure am. He goes, in my head, he said, that's probably why you drink a lot, but that's not what he said. But in all reality, he was like, wow, this market is just nuts.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And I'm like, that's what the consumer out there. So we're out here saying it, right? And nobody has a better term or a better way to describe this market than crazy and nuts and what is going on.
I feel like at some point we should do another show about what does this really mean? Like real estate lingo type of thing. It's oh, the market's hot. It was what does that really mean? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to people who are in the industry selling their house or whatever?
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I know. I'll
Full
quote
of them.
Sharon. I'm full of them.
Full of it.
All right. So let's do sort of like a market update. So are we seeing, and this is a great question for you. We'll start off with the buyers because you work primarily with their buyers. I mean, you're a listing agent on the team as well, but let's sort of shift the focus to buyers
I feel like I'm getting
tonight.
interviewed right now.
Sharon-
I don't know. I don't know how
I know.
feel
Well, I'm
about this.
standing too. And you know what? I don't know if it's good or bad for my feet because they're falling asleep. So what does that say? I should probably get a physical and don't tell me that I need to lose weight. All right. So the I feel like the focus is always on sellers. So let's shift the focus a little bit and do it on buyers.
Okay.
Mary, look at your face all lit up. If you're watching us live on
Am I
Facebook, we're
glowing?
live on Sharon Costa McNamara's Facebook page, and we've shared it everywhere. And I can see that Sharon is watching. Hello, hello from I think across the street. But okay, let's shift here. So, are we seeing a change in showings? So, are your buyers still seeing multiple properties at a time? What are your buyers doing in regard to scheduling their showings? Are they making time in order to see them? Are they going on the weekends? What's sort of an update with where the buyers are at?
I'm so pleasantly surprised in the open house attendance because it's seeming like the open house trend is kind of getting back to where it used to be. So for
In regard to a buyer going to an open house?
buyer going to an open house, because for a while we were seeing that appointments needed to be made for these 2-hour window open houses. So say you had an open house from like 12 to 2
Mhm.
and you were making like a 15-minute appointment to get your time slot and not, almost some buyers being denied to even go in if they didn't have a time slot. So it was kind of like by appointment only open houses,
Yeah.
which I kind of thought was crazy.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, it's really nice to see that buyers can just attend open houses if they need to, if they want to. Private showings, I'm still seeing that it's really difficult to get in. A lot of people are still doing the no showings until the open house,
Mhm.
and they're still kind of holding to that and then not allowing time after the open house or time before the open house for buyers to really get in. And it definitely is limiting that buyer pool. I definitely, I don't like that trend.
Yeah.
But also I'm not seeing as much inventory. Like at first, maybe, and I would say mid-June, it was like, oh, things were coming on. And, we're starting to feel like an uptick in the amount of listings. And I think, yes, that's still true. We're still better than we were several months ago.
Yeah.
But we've slowed down in the
Ooh.
grand scheme of things. Ooh, thunder.
Thunder.
Miradanda. We've slowed down in the grand scheme of new listings hitting the market. And that also,
You just put on 3 last week.
no, but it's also the time of year too.
Yeah.
So like we would naturally, no matter what, we would be feeling this same kind of slowdown in a normal market. We always tend to see, like, when the kids get out of school,
Well, it's 4th of July
weekend, people are going on vacation. This feels probably the most normal to me out of the whole year.
Yeah.
Like this time right now. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Every once in a while, you need a sort of a breather.
Yeah.
So, do you think that your buyers, and I'm jumping ahead, but
No, it's okay.
are your buyers feeling fatigued?
I very much so. So one thing that I've noticed over the past couple of weeks is that so the grand scheme is the market slowing down? Yes, I think it is. I think buyers are out there and kind of just fed up. They're hearing what the industry is saying in general, that like now is a very difficult time to buy. They know that we in Massachusetts only have like 2 months of really nice weather. So they want to go on vacation. They want to go to the beach. They don't want to spend their weekends getting their heart broken or, just be all consumed over the summer. So a lot of them are kind of saying, we're just going to take the summer off, enjoy it, maybe save up some money, see what the fall brings. And I'm not going to give my bold prediction, but it will go into that. And even what this little slowdown that we're feeling right now has been really good for is actually the buyers out there that have the home sale contingencies. So, or this, or home sale contingencies, suitable housing clauses, all of that. I'm seeing those buyers have a much better opportunity up against, now that we're not seeing 20 offers on a property, we're seeing 5 or 6. So the rate at
You're
which,
jumping ahead for me.
oh, sorry,
That's okay.
I'm
Take your
going on
time.
a rant.
I know.
I'm getting nervous by all the thunder.
I know. I didn't know it was going to rain or thunder like that. Oh, Dexter.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my baby at
Oh.
home. Guys, I don't
Um,
have a real baby. I have a fur baby, but
he
does
is a
not
big
like,
baby
he does
though.
not like the thunder.
No, he doesn't. But okay, so as a listing agent, are you seeing the amount of showings on your listings go down? Have you seen a difference in that?
Definitely. So as you said, we put on 3 new listings just last week. So last Wednesday and Thursday, we put 3 new properties on, 2 in Pembroke, and 1 in Plymouth. And while so the 2 in Pembroke are under agreement now. And we did get multiple offers on them and had several showings. The rate at which we had those showings was nowhere near what it was several weeks ago. So several weeks ago, the phones would have been ringing off the hook. We wouldn't have even been able to keep up almost.
Yeah.
It was like that fast, furious frenzy.
Yeah.
This was very manageable. They kind of trickled in, maybe 1 or 2 a day.
And it was good because I know at least 2, but are all 3 of them vacant?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So easy to show.
Very easy to show. Very easy to show. So it was, the price point, in my opinion, is something that we don't see a lot here in Pembroke. So we had, BB Lane that was listed for $299, Redwood Circle that was listed for $375. That's become a smaller pocket in our area. So I personally anticipated that we would have a lot of traffic, but timing of the year wise, and maybe even demographically, the size of the houses are a little bit smaller.
That's what I was going to say. For at least all 3 of them, they're a very specific market.
Very true. Very true.
So BB Lane is a 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
Which is perfect for 1 or 2 people. So that's a very specific demographic. Redwood, it's 2 bedroom ranch. It's a very specific starter home.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the 55 and over community, that's a specific demographic, so it that is a factor as well. So it's also the inventory that's going on the market right now.
Yeah.
So it's the properties that are vacant because they've either something has gone on in the lives of the people who own them where it's time to sort of move on and let go of these properties. Or, it's just they've already found somewhere else to live.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's good to see the first time or the right size or demographic have opportunities as well. Cause we have been seeing a lot of the 4 to 5 to 6, that middle range buyer demographic a lot.
Yeah. So let's move on to open houses. Are open houses still happening? What are you seeing traffic wise?
Yeah, I think open houses are definitely still happening. For a while we were seeing Saturday, Sunday, 2 to 3 hours Saturday, Sunday. I'm seeing now that we're kind of going into maybe just a Sunday or maybe just a Saturday, only 2 hours. Kind of almost back to kind of how it was, how it was maybe in not even 2020, but 2019 before COVID. You would do usually 1 open house a weekend and take it from there. I have noticed recently that open house attendance is definitely not as strong, but it will depend on the property.
Yeah.
The property itself.
Yeah. I do this spreadsheet for our office every week about, how many people came to your open house. And I also put in there, what the price point was, what time you did it, because that also matters. And Sharon was even talking about it last week when she was trying to figure out when she should do each of her open houses. So she was going to do 1 from 10 to 12 and 1 to 3. So which house worked for that time?
Yeah.
So that sort of goes into the strategy of figuring out, when you're going to be doing the open houses. Are you going to be doing them Saturday and Sunday? You're going to do a commuter open house at night or anything like that. I don't remember where I was going with that, but at least I said something. I don't remember what you just said. Right
No,
there.
well, we were talking about the open house number. So where
Oh,
where
yeah,
are
yeah,
you
yeah.
seeing?
So my spreadsheet. So there's sort of just been all over the place. And so like, I can't
even predict it.
Yeah, I can't even come up with a reason why. It's like, you would think that 1 million people would show up to a price point like $375 in Pembroke, but the attendance wasn't low, but we still had a good amount of showings and got multiple offers on it. So there's no right rhyme or reason to it. I know we try to come up with like these great reasonings, but why, behind why we got this and that, but at the end of the day, it's just so unpredictable.
I think that price range has gotten beaten up over the past 6
Yeah.
months. So like, one, there hasn't been a ton for them to look at across like all Plymouth County, Norfolk County. There hasn't been, a huge inventory for properties under 400,000.
Yeah.
So one, I think they've gotten beat up, and they're kind of, whenever they're going out for something, they're competing against 20, 30, 40 people that they're just kind of tired, they're fatigued, and they're just wanting to enjoy their summer. That's the best reason I have for it. Cause I'm working specifically with 3 or 4 buyers that are in that range,
Yeah. I agree with everything that you just said.
So I love that you laugh when you get nervous. It's kind of like, I don't know how to.
Well, you know what,
so
everybody, I am nervous because I am going to be out of the office.
Oh.
No. Zip it. I'm going to be out of the office for 3 days. So I am pretty nervous. And then one of our agents just texted me about something that's being moved. And I'm like nervous now. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
if anybody wants to call in and tell Melissa it's okay that she can go away for a couple of days, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. If anybody can just let me know. The printer guy today told me that I could go away. So that was nice.
Everything will be just fine.
Everything will be just fine. I'm just having a panic attack right now. Okay, so we talked about our agents doing open houses both days. I really don't think that it's necessary. Do you think, as a listing agent, are people are buyers attending their open houses with their agents, or are they just going without them?
I'm finding more that they're just going, which is fine. Like, truthfully, that's how it was back in 2019. I mean, we didn't matter. It was send your clients. We honor all relationships. Like, we want an opportunity to meet your clients. And if you put in an offer of face-to-face, of course, we would love the agents to all be able to attend so that they can have eyes on the house when they're putting in offers on these houses. But realistically, it's, the agents who are out there, and probably not most, I'll say most that are not attending the open houses, probably because they have an open house that weekend themselves. And they do tend to all kind of fall within the same time frame. But yeah, I did. So I did Franklin Street in Halifax, and I would say out of the 13 groups that we had, only one agent came through. Everybody else were buyers just looking for themselves. And that was perfectly fine. I'm totally cool with that.
My aunt must be listening, because she just texted me, the place won't burn down without you. You deserve to go away. So thanks. So now my aunt and the printer guy and everybody here, everybody at the office, everyone has told me to go away. I will go away. I am going away. I'll just have a panic attack until I get there. But yeah, I'm going to Newport for a couple of days. If anybody has any suggestions of what to do, where to go.
You tell people where you go, then they're going to go find you. Are you Melissa Wallace from Talk Real Estate Roundtable?
Oh yeah, I listen to you on the radio. Can I have your autograph? Yeah, so that's great about the open house. So, and I actually talked to my cousin earlier. So I've been showing my cousin a couple condos on the weekends, and mainly because none of the places that I have shown her, they have done open houses. None of them.
All condos though, right?
Yeah. So actually one did a commuter one on a Friday, and that was it. Like, every other one is just like, nope, just showings, which is totally fine, because I obviously like you want to be able to see it, but it's like, okay, like, but
it's such a regular thing for us to do an open house that it is kind of strange. But we used to always say, like, open houses really don't necessarily sell houses, because the buyers who are interested and are out there, they are going to have an agent. They're going to be actively working. They're going to be actively looking. So when your house comes up, they're going to have their agent calling them. Those are the serious ones. Those,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes by not doing an open house, you eliminate your pool of looky-loos, so to speak, or the ones that aren't quite serious.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, I'm a two-prong approach type person,
Yeah.
you know, allow
Yeah.
it for private showings and do the open house.
Yeah. All right. So let's sort of talk about the inventory then. Have you seen a change in the inventory, what's on the market? So whether it's the amount of new listings, a price change. Have you seen a price change lately? Anything that's come back on market, properties that have gone under agreement, whether it's taken them a long time or it's still pretty quickly? What are you sort of seeing with those?
So the rate at which new properties are coming on is definitely less over the past probably 2 weeks than it has been previously. And the rate of price adjustments are definitely higher, which is interesting. So Sharon and I were actually having a conversation about this recently, and Mel, you might have even been there. But we were talking about with properties coming on at a higher price point and then seeing that they're taking these price adjustments after a week. We've been talking for weeks now how we're kind of in this limbo area where where houses were selling quite high and were going under agreement quite high, but they hadn't actually sold yet. And agents and sellers were kind of trying to predict where the market was going and what the emotional value for a buyer was going to be so that they could appropriately price the house. And it seems like a lot of sellers or agents might have been overshooting the mark a little bit and kind of overpricing the house. So the theory that you can't overprice your house still does not exist. That is not a thing. You most certainly can overprice your house. But overpricing and then nobody coming through or them not getting the response that they were looking for over, the first couple of days and taking these adjustments so that they don't miss the market entirely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see that. I think sellers, again, everybody's hearing us say the market is crazy, the market is crazy. And then sellers are saying, all right, well, maybe I can get, $600,000 for my 2-bedroom ranch, which no, you can't.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, but
well, it's interesting that you say that because every single condo that I have shown my cousin is still on the market.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Well, there's a big difference between single families and condos.
Yeah.
From a resale standpoint, and especially coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people coming out of condos or townhomes who want outdoor space or want privacy.
Yeah.
And the single family market is definitely stronger.
Well, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on the show about like open floor plans and how people are going to probably start to not go towards the whole open floor plan because being in your house for, during quarantine made you realize that
There's nowhere to escape.
There's nowhere to put my desk, without it being where I eat my breakfast or where I sleep. There's no separation between those things. So you're literally bringing work to bed with you, which is never good.
If I ever had my computer or a desk in my bedroom,
like I did during quarantine,
I don't know. I don't know if I could handle it. I don't know if I would have been able to do that.
Yeah.
It's staring at my computer all day.
Yeah. It's hard. Do you see a change in buyers?
Yeah.
Are they still buying with emotions?
Much more controlled emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're no longer seeing, or at least right now. So, and when I say no longer, I'm really it's week to week, right? So this slowdown that we've seen has maybe been coming or been here for 2 weeks, been coming for 3-ish, but really here for 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the rate at which properties are going over asking is lower than it has been previously. So if a seller was getting 110% sale to list price ratio, maybe now they're getting 6 or 3, somewhere around there. It's much more. I think they understand buyers still want to give over asking to be appealing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not 50, 60, 80, 100 100 million, whatever. It's maybe 5,000.
I read
Again,
it.
like it feels like 2019 a little bit. It really does.
Why?
Because it's just a lot more. This feels like I said, the most normal that we've been since 2019. You know, the market has. I'm not going to jinx myself and say the market stabilized, because then I'm going to get a million calls tomorrow. But it feels good. I feel like we needed a break. Maybe this is a little bit of the reset that we needed.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens after the end of July.
After the end of July. I know June. I mean, I cannot believe that tomorrow is the 30th of June. Like, how did that even happen?
We blinked.
Yeah. How did that happen?
I don't know. Where were you?
I don't know.
In your office upstairs.
In my office upstairs. Are buyers still frustrated? Like, what?
Yeah.
How are their emotions right now?
Yeah, I think the buyers who have been out there and kind of pounding the pavement looking for a long time, they're certainly frustrated. I think a lot of them feel as if nothing is going to come on in their price range, or they're not going to be competitive enough. You know, I have buyer clients who have missed out several times, and really for no good reason other than, you know, maybe an offer was a little bit higher than theirs, or they needed help with closing costs, and, you know, the sellers don't end up wanting to do that. We're being high. But it's frustrating being denied time and time again, because you're not the most financially stable of the buyers. I mean, your finances at the end of the day will win you an offer every single time. Regardless of price, regardless of where you're, you know, waiving your home inspection, even if you're strong in your financing, it's incredibly appealing.
So are you seeing buyers taking a break from house hunting?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 3 of my clients are out on vacation right now. One's in Utah, one's in Arizona, and I think the other one, they might be in Florida. Like, they're just kind of, I'm saying it, they're enjoying the summer. They want to get their heads back on straight and kind of just say, okay, maybe this wasn't the right time for me to jump in. And I don't want to be an emotional wreck all summer. I just want to have a good time, and we'll see what the fall is like.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it'll slow down. Maybe I'll have a better chance.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi. I was like watching you. So,
yeah, we saw.
Yeah. And then, you know, I just figured I would come over and say hello before I leave for vacation. I'm only here to say hello. I'm leaving on vacation. I was just actually getting my nails done. So
did you go with a new shape?
I did, but I don't like it. So we'll just have to wait. I mean, I don't know. I just have to get used to it. But anyways, you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks.
So
I feel like I'm being interviewed. I'm like sitting up very tall, very straight. I'm like, oh, what's going on here?
You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks.
Did you have any WATD listeners calling in tonight? Maybe?
No calls, but if you want to call Ben at the studio, it's 781-837-4900, and he'll connect you to us. You can talk about anything that we're talking about. You can ask us any questions. You can wish us goodbye on our little vacations. Or you can, you know, just say hi.
Yeah.
Just say hi.
Melissa's going on vacation too. So
yeah,
it will be fun.
It will. Yeah. You must have missed that part about the whole.
She announced and she goes, I'm having an anxiety attack. I was like, can anyone call in and tell Melissa that it's going to be just fine?
Yeah,
okay. So
thanks, Ben.
So both of you now, do you see a change in the offers that you're either receiving or writing?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's just more manageable. Like it's not, you have to waive your home inspection, waive your mortgage contingency, waive, you know, give them your firstborn child, name them, you know, after the sellers. That is definitely slowing down and becoming a lot more manageable right now. It's not to say that it won't pick up again, but right now, for all of those buyers who have been out there and kind of, you know, losing out because they might have some terms that aren't great, now is probably the time for you to actually be really, really looking instead of taking the break, because everybody had the same idea. Everybody kind of decided that they were going to step back. So the really those really competitive offers, I don't think we're seeing as much of anymore or right now.
I feel that way. I did 2 open houses last weekend, and I noticed that, people who liked the house and maybe they were looking at the top of their budget, the response was, I'm not even going to bother putting in an offer just because I know that I'm not going to win. And I was like, well, hold on,
right.
because things are changing. So always throw your hat into the ring just to see if, you are the one that gets it accepted. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we accepted an offer with a home sale contingency and the house hadn't even been put on the market yet. So these are things that were quote unquote normal for us to see in the past. It's just because of this craziness and recklessness that was going on that sort of caused that, the emotional bidding. And
I think the buyers got beat up.
And I do agree with you, Mary. I think that there is buyer fatigue right now, and that they just sort of want to take a break, which means the ones that do have, my hairy leg syndrome, those are the ones to sort of stay in the game, because
this is your time to kind of like duke it out.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to get down in the trenches, and it's the best opportunity that you might have to really grab onto something.
Yeah. We do have a question from Donna Bagney, who is a full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate. She has also been here since day one. She's an OG.
Day one.
She wants to know, how are you seeing the appraisal prices coming in with the all over bidding pricing going on?
So things aren't appraising, but the problem is, I mean, that isn't a problem. I mean, it is sort of a problem, but when we had all those multiple offers, it didn't matter because their loan to value ratio was so incredibly low that it didn't really matter. I think what we're going to see now, have you talked about bold predictions? I couldn't really hear everything. Yeah. So my bold prediction is that, and we've talked about this around the office, is that all of that emotional bidding that we had, that was emotional value. Those are now closing May and June. I'd say more of them in June are closing. And I think now when I'm comping a house to put that house on the market, I'm using that emotional value because it's sold. We can't tell that it didn't appraise. That's where my concern is. It's like, well, this house never appraised at 857.
So something that I had heard last week actually is that there's a lot of appraisers out there who are kind of taking that to heart and calling the listing agents of those properties and saying, hey, listen, did you have any issues with appraisals? Like, did this actually comp out? Or did the buyer have to come up with additional funds, which I think is really responsible from the appraisal standpoint to kind of try and do that research on the back end, because there's really no way of us logging and or relaying that information via our MLS. So without the appraisers kind of policing themselves.
Yeah. And which I'm sort of surprised about, because I feel like in MLS, we have so many things that we can enter. Like once the house is sold, I mean, Mary, you talked about it, I think last week, or you talked about it in the office. I mean, we got a warning from MLS because our sale price was so far over the sale price, but I'm surprised that MLS doesn't have something in there where it says what was the appraised value.
Do you think people would be honest though? Like, because I was thinking, did it appraise, yes or no? Like everybody's going to say yes. Or it would be like a code of ethics thing with the agents. You'd have to,
I was just going to say, I mean, would you lie? Who would lie? Like,
well, I know a lot of people don't put, a lot of people don't put in like cash paid for upgrades outside of closing, or was there a seller concession?
Even like with the appraisals, like if something doesn't appraise, but like the buyer comes up with the cash, and keeps the sale price the same as like their offer price, then, I mean, even if it only appraised for $50,000 under whatever, but they came up with that $50,000 cash, then like it's still going to be sold as the $50,000 over, So,
and that's what I think we're saying too, is that's why, like, think some of these are appraising 100,000 under. But the people who have the money are able to, they have that extra money, but is that really truly the value of that house as we're looking at it as sold? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like maybe MLS should have another category in there that just says, what was the appraised value of this house? And that's what we should be comping houses at. Now I just feel we won't see as much emotional bidding as we did before, or emotional value as we did before, because now we're already high.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree. From a buyer's perspective, we had in April, May, we had a couple properties that didn't appraise for their sale price, and buyer and seller were able to work it out and come to a middle term. Right now, it's almost like the market has caught up. I haven't seen any appraisal issues on the buy side. So, I mean, the appraisers are meeting even what that emotional value was, but I have to say our offers weren't excessively like crazy over asking.
And that's what we're going to see. I don't think we're going to anymore. I think that this emotional value that we're in right now for comping out houses, we won't see much over.
We won't see much over, and we won't see many appraisal gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow, ladies. Great information for everybody.
I feel like I'm giving a PSA. Get out there.
Yeah.
Just keep looking.
So are you seeing a
can do
difference
it.
in the number of offers that you're receiving?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so less, more, less.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely less.
Are you writing less, Mary?
Right now? Yeah. Our buyers are, I mean, maybe I have 3 that are really, really still kind of pounding the pavement looking, but otherwise they're kind of taking a lull.
And we put 2 houses on the market this week, right? Was it last week? Last week? Right, okay. So we put 3 houses on the market last week. And I remember saying to you, Mary, at one point, I can tell things are slowing down based on how many showings we're getting. Because we've always been the agents that have allowed showings before the open house, just to give people as much time as they need. It just came a little close. I'm not used to the new boom thing here. I noticed, less showings, less people at the open houses. I mean, you do an open house report every week for our office, right?
Yeah, I talked about that. You were probably in the car, but it's just there's no right rhyme or reason. Like even the price points, the times, they're like just sort of all over the place. One will be 50 people showed up and one will be 1 person showed up, but like it's just
really
sort of all
house.
over
It's
the place.
house.
And I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, the price ranges that we were in, I mean, we had one was 375 and one was 299.9. I mean, those price ranges, that just tells me that buyer pool has either given up or the majority of them have found something.
No, that's what I was saying earlier. I was like, I feel like they're just, they're beat up. They're kind of tired.
They're exhausted.
Yeah. They're kind of tired and they're just kind of taking themselves out for a little bit.
Yeah. One person told me, I find myself now, this is what Sue Bollinger had given this suggestion last year. I'm looking at houses $50,000 less than my values, less than what I can afford, just so I can bid $50,000 more than the list price.
Yeah.
But we won't see that as much anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. Sharon, you watched a webinar yesterday, and I have some notes from Lauren, who we hired for the summer, our little intern here. Is there anything that you wanted to share with our listeners that you heard on the webinar from yesterday?
Yeah. So, P.S. I love Lawrence Yun. I have never made that a secret. He is the chief economist for the National Association of Realtors. And anytime he is on anything, I am glued to the screen. And one of the things that he said yesterday was that I found interesting is everybody, and I heard you guys talking about this earlier, is what does it mean when someone says the market is hot, the market is hot, the market is hot? I think right now that agents and people feel like the market is hot, but it's more about the speed of what's happening. So it's like we're putting a house on the market and we're getting it under agreement right away, where that didn't happen previously. In a normal quote unquote market is you'd put a house on the market in a week, 2 weeks, like, people were sort of savoring it a little bit.
Yeah.
But
they didn't feel as if it was going to get snatched out from underneath them. They felt like they had time to kind of look and research and communicate and things like that.
Yep. Yeah. And then the one other big thing that I did get out of it is this is not a bubble from what anybody and everybody can see. Like I said, we just talked about appraisals. Like the value of houses is not going to go down unless they go in and put that appraisal number in there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the numbers are what they are.
Yeah. the numbers are what they are.
Mhm.
Just a couple other things from it. It's the webinar yesterday. So the number of realtors there are
That was
has
interesting.
increased.
Oh yeah, because the market is so crazy, right, guys? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's I have here that in 2019 there were 1.4 million
Mhm.
realtors. In 2020, 1.48 million.
Well, what's interesting is Brian Buffini is the one that said that there was 1.48 million. When Lawrence Young got on, he corrected him and said there's actually 1.5.
Oh,
Mm.
well,
Wow.
there you go.
Mhm.
Lawrence,
Lawrence.
correcting the buff man is what Lori Rini calls him. Yeah, well, that's interesting. So what does that tell you guys?
Mhm.
What happened in 2020?
Well, and that goes back to, I mean, I know one of the things you're going to talk about is how much the average agent makes, but that's the other thing too, is everybody thinking that this market is fast. It's, there's more agents out there now too. So that's where there's more competition and stuff going on, for the buyers, I think.
Yeah. So years experience, 2019 was 9 years, 2020, 8 years. I don't know the backstory of that part, but
I think it's just kind of interesting because what his point was is that as the number of realtors in the industry goes up, the actual experience of those real estate agents goes down.
Goes down, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have more agents than ever, but less experience out there than ever. So
It's important. In this room, we have just in this room alone, we have 37, 38 years of experience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
total.
Average income 2019 was 49,700, 2020 43,300. More agents, less money.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is that I think it's interesting that a lot of, I would say, consumers out there, because, our audience right now is probably people, not so much agents, but they probably think, oh, agents are making a killing right now. Like agents are just racking
Probably
in.
one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, but like they don't understand that when there are more agents and you decide to, oh, I'm going to go with my cousin's friend who just decided to get into the industry. It takes away, and he has a full-time job working Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It takes away from the people who did commit to making this their career, like all of us.
Speaking of all of us, in 2019, 57% were women. In 2020, 65% were women.
I think real estate needs a nurturing hand. So that's what we're here for.
But some agents need to be nurtured as well. They need to get back to
basics.
learning basic skills. Realtors' main communication over the past year. So texting was 93%, telephone 90%, email 89%.
Yeah. And this was really interesting too when I was listening. Mary, I know that you were listening in too, and I don't know if you heard this part. And I loved that he said this because
1 minute left.
Here we are. We're a small, we're a boutique company, mid-size, 34 agents, whatever. Very much, we are a team, but the office treats each other like a big team where we're always willing to help each other. I love when these bigger companies are they try to David and Goliath try to squish us because of technology. And we all have the same internet. We have all the same tools. But when it comes down to it, the most important thing is texting, the telephone, hello, calling, and email. It has nothing to do with all the new shiny, fancy things that are out there. So
yeah. Well, that is our music.
You guys, you ladies did such a fantastic job.
Thank
and
you.
I will be calling in from Edgartown next week on the boat as I did last year. So I look forward to that. And you can tell me what the topic is.
Sure. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Happy 4th, everybody. Bye, Ben.
Have a good night.
Red flags in the building.
The sweltering Pacific Northwest.
It is super hot.
Great job, ladies.
President Biden
Have a happy